That is unfortunate that you chose me as your mother. I didn't choose you. You did.
In fact, you did.
In fact, you did.
Now live with your choice. Live with your choice. I think after that, then I called you and I asked another friend, and I was like, here's what's going on. I'm getting the sense that maybe I shouldn't do this. And you were like, yeah, no, that is like a hell no. The universe is screaming at you to not do this. And I was like, are you sure?
There's
Yep.
a lot of taglines going on. Like so many.
Hi, welcome back to Living Magic. I'm Catherine. That's Kyla. We're so happy to be here.
We're so happy.
Been an interesting weekend for both of us, but here we are, showing
We
up.
decided we're going to show up. We're going to show up today. Okay. Close your eyes and count to 3 and let's see if we picked the same glasses. Okay. 1,
Okay.
2, 3. It feels so good with our garden on our head.
Shocker. Okay, just full disclosure. We did this off camera and we forgot to record. So now we're trying to recreate it, but we're terrible actors. So
And it didn't work. But they are really cute together.
but we did actually want to pick the same one. They are really cute. But yeah, they are intense to be inside of them.
Yeah, it is a different world. I can maybe handle it for maybe 5 minutes.
All right. I need to take a breath.
Take a deep. Oh, I know what I'll do.
Lights of Palo
I'm gonna light the
Santo.
Palo Santo. Man, I did the biggest cleansing of my house after those uh things started to go off automatically. Did we talk about that already?
No, you told me.
I told you. Okay. So there's just like not a lot of sleep going on in my household right now because I have a dog who's going blind in one eye and mostly blind in another eye. And his fingernails are too long. I've never had to clip them before. I'm nervous to clip them. And he's up and you just hear him click, clickety, clicking, clicking all night. So there was that. Like I have to, and he can't do stairs at night. We have to leave lights on for him. So I carry him down the stairs, take him outside, let him go pee, all the things. And then, so this was a couple nights ago, like probably 4 nights ago. Oh, one thing though, it smells so good.
It smells so good. I don't have anything to burn because I wasn't prepared. And so I'm just smelling oils.
Just sniff the oils. You'll be good. We're gonna lower our expectation today and we're gonna raise our vibration.
See,
Okay.
that is why we show up.
That is why we show up. So then there our dog who is a pit bull has a very aggressive bark, even though he is a ton of love. This is a different dog, not the very old dog, the young dog.
This is a young dog full of life.
And he's like at 4 a.m. And you jump out of bed when something wakes you up like that, that's sleeping right next to your bed. And then I was like, I think I hear it. I hear what he's hearing. Can you hear that? It's like a little buzzing noise. I was like, I think the DVD player is going. I don't know how I could hear it because it's really faint. So I go downstairs, and it's not on. And then I'm looking at it and it turns on.
Oh,
And I was like,
I get the same feeling.
that's interesting. Why? Why are you turning on right now? All by yourself, all by your lonesome in the middle of the night. That wasn't the first time because the dog had already heard it and I had already heard it. So it's like turned on. So I just unplugged it. Then that was like 4 a.m. And then at like 5 a.m, the coffee maker just starts going off. And that's when I was like, something is trying to get my attention here. Like, I don't know. I was tempted to like turn my phone on because I turn it off at night and check to make sure like my dad wasn't calling, like there wasn't some sort of emergency. I maybe even did do that and there wasn't that, but it definitely made me think like, who is trying to get in touch with me? Anywho, I ran through my Palo Santo and sage through the whole house and did my whole only energy for our highest and best good is allowed in this house. Everything else has to go. And since then, well, kind of not again after that night. The house is a little distressed right now, I think. A lot of distressful things happening also. So I'm just trying to fix it up with some love. I reminded my kids, stop talking poorly about our house that's falling apart. Because she doesn't like to be talked to. I like that. She wants love. And I got ridiculed by my children who were like, stop with all of this magic stuff. Just stop. I don't like it and I don't want it. That is unfortunate that you chose me as your mother. I didn't choose you. You did.
In fact, you did.
In fact, you did.
Now live with your choice. Live with your choice.
Live with your magic mother. Live with her. Just live her and love her.
And also, you really, as I was saying to you when you told me this first story, first my reaction was, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like it. Stop. I don't like it. Like it just made me so uncomfortable. But you really do choose houses that have their own personalities and desires, and you really do have to work with them.
I do.
And your house also at one point was you had to have somebody come and close a portal that was allowing
Oh my God.
souls to
Yeah.
like enter the earth. So
It is strange, like it would be really cool. I don't think it would be great for us if we had those full vision goggles that went from like this very limited what we can see, in this realm, in the 3D realm, to what is actually happening all around us, like
it,
energetically with spirits and entities and whatever else you agree to believe or don't believe in. But still, it's like if we just turned on the daylight and we were like, oh, I'm amongst all these fairies and unicorns.
I think it would be really overwhelming. There are times when I'm like, I really want to be able to see everything. And then I am like, actually, I don't. I do not want to see.
I take that back.
I take back. I want to see all the good ones that are light and bright and pretty. And I don't want to see anything dark or messy.
Yeah, what was that thing that Beverly Anderson told us that time about there's really not bad, it's just
Decelerative.
decelerative,
Yes.
decelerative energy versus
Accelerative.
accelerative.
Yeah. So it's things that are like speeding up, raising the vibration, like we are currently with low expectations. And then things that are working to create balance by lowering vibration. And I do think that the more you believe that that decelerative is evil, bad, the more you see of that too.
When I heard that, it was kind of a relief, like, oh, there's not really like evil or good or bad, bad.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be bad, it's just decelerative.
Yeah.
It wants to do better than that, and it's just not right now.
But that's where my Catholic upbringing is hard to turn off, where you're like, I am going to go to hell. When you think that you're going to go to hell from the moment you're like 3 on, then you're like, oh, yeah, there's no evil. Well, I have to deprogram myself now.
Let's do a little deprogramming.
Your eyebrows are hopping around.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Okay.
Okay.
So, not a lot of sleep. I also have not been having a lot of sleep in my house for a different reason, but whatever. Today, what we wanted to talk about was so there's always, people are always talking about following signs, following signs. Today, we wanted to talk about and share some stories about when we have received signs to stop doing something in the world and talk about that. Because for me, from my perspective, those signs are a lot harder to follow than the signs that are like, go do this, try this. Those I'm like, yes, okay, the universe is telling me to do it. But when the universe is like yelling at me to stop doing something, I'm like, should I stop? Kyla, what do you think? Should I stop this? Like I like don't trust it when it's a no in the way that I trust it when it's a yes.
Right. And that's so interesting that for me, sometimes I'm like, it's a FOMO thing. Like, I do not want to miss out on whatever this is right here. I think I want it, even though I'm getting these very obvious signs.
Yeah.
It's not your time. It's not your
It's
time.
you want to tell our stories about it?
Yes.
I'm sure we have lots more examples, but we have 2 that we specifically thought of. So,
I need to exit the vortex.
yes.
Hi.
Hi. Oh,
So
it's so much
much
better.
better. Do you have a story that you want to tell first?
Well, I can tell mine. It is relatively recent, so it's more salient. I think yours is from a while ago. So, yeah, I was doing this training and it was a year-long training that had about 5 weekends that you had to participate in. And I had done 3 weekends and I loved it. I really, really did enjoy it. I felt like I was getting a lot out of it. And then as it was leading in to the 4th weekend, I just started to get the signs of like,
Signs.
okay, I think you're done with this now. So there were a few. It was like the original weekend that it was scheduled didn't work for me well because my husband was going to be out of town. And so I didn't have childcare for my kids. Plus, they had a lot of activities going on. And so it was like, how am I going to navigate all this? But then the weekend got moved to later on in the month. And so I was like, great. The universe is like, here, let me make this easy for you. So I was like, okay, the universe is like, continue, keep going. And then what happened was it actually got moved back to the original weekend. And somehow I missed the email that told me that, which I never miss an email. I like, I always get all my emails. So it was really weird that I just completely didn't see it. So I missed the email that said it came back until to the original weekend, which again did not work for my schedule. And when it was first scheduled for that weekend, I was like, well, maybe I can have my mom come. She could help, yada, yada. But then when it got moved, I was like, don't worry about it. We're good. We're fine. It got moved back to the original one. And I didn't see the email. And so I didn't know about it until a week before because someone texted me, like, do you want to carpool? And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't even know about this. So now it was on a weekend that was really, really hard for me to do it. And there was other stuff layered on top of that where I was starting to get some weird feelings and vibes from just the group dynamic. It was starting to feel a little sort of really focused on not decelerative energy, but there was a lot of talk of like curses and evil and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really want to like play in this playground, you know? So that was already like feeling like, maybe no, that's a no. Um, and there was more, but I can't remember what the more was at this point. Sorry. But then what I did was I was like, okay, when I go to sleep, I'm asking my subconscious to give me a sign about whether or not I should go to this. And so I had a dream that night where I went to the house of one of the people who was in the training, and my kids came with me. And at that house, my kids were just creating absolute havoc in the house. They were like breaking, which they never do. That's not who they are, but they were creating so much distraction, and we were supposed to be meditating, but my kids were preventing it from happening completely in the stream. So in the dream, I literally said to the woman whose house I was at, would it be better for me to, I think the language I used was, would it be better for me not to be here? And she was like, yes, you should go. It was like so clear. Like, yeah, you should not be here at all. And I think after that, then I called you and I asked another friend, and I was like, here's what's going on. I'm getting the sense that maybe I shouldn't do this. And you were like, yeah, no, that is like a hell no. The universe is screaming at you to not do this. And I was like, are you sure? So then I ended up having a call that I had for other reasons with this woman who channels angels. And even on that, I was like, what do you think about this? Can you like give me I could not trust it. It was so my own subconscious was like, you should not be here. You should not be here. You need to go. And I still was like, I think I just need a little bit more information about this. And in the end, I ended up not going. I did hear about that weekend afterwards, and they were doing like a little bit of hands-on energy work, which in retrospect, I'm like, that's really good that I wasn't there because I am so sensitive to that sort of thing. And I have spent so many years cleaning up my energy and clearing out energy that's not mine and my own energy. And then it would be sort of foolish for me to just let some newbie be like, here, let me throw some energy into you. You know, like it could mess me up for a good while. So in the end, I didn't go, and it was the right choice. And I feel like I could have avoided so much hemming and hawing if I just was like, look, the universe is telling me the time is done. And that is what Whitney, the angel channeler, she was like, yeah, all I'm getting is that you got what you needed why you needed to go to this, you got it already. And now it's done. And now you do not need to keep going. And I was like, okay, thank you.
But are you sure?
but really, and there was a huge part of that FOMO of like, but it's fun and we're do magic and I like that
Mm.
and it's fun to be in that for a few days and then you come out of it and you're reconnected to all of that. It was yeah, just like this massive example of me not trusting the universe or myself in one of those scenarios because I didn't want to miss out on something magic.
And okay, so it ended up when you're looking at it in hindsight, you're like, oh, I could have really messed up my mojo,
Yeah, exactly.
you
And it was
know?
a period of time where I was really uncentered. There was a lot going on in my personal life, and I really was feeling ungrounded and like I didn't have my stuff together. And not only could I have messed up my mojo, I probably could have messed with somebody else's mojo because I do have years of training of moving energy. I wasn't doing any energy work at that time because it didn't feel like I should. Like it felt like when I fell into it, I was like, my energy is not centered enough to be working with anyone else's energy. So then to go into a training where I do have skill at moving energy and to do it when I'm not in a place where it feels like it's something I should be doing. Also, I could have messed with somebody because that's the power of the chi. You can heal with it and you can kill with it. It all depends on the practitioner, right? So
The chi.
the chi.
What I think is kind of cool about that, when we listen to the this is a no, like there's usually a reason behind it that there really isn't. I can remember, I don't have a specific example, but when I start to feel no, like even when I want to go work with a client, that I'm like, I really do want to work with this client, or but it is a no. I don't, whatever it is. And then they'll be like, oh my God, thank you so much for calling. I really had all my kids are sick. And I was like, oh, well, it was a no for you too. Like sometimes it's a no for everybody, and someone just has to make that call.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the right time to do this, you know?
Yep.
So in that group scenario, it was a no for everybody. You needed to be done.
It was a
And
no for me not to be there. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I don't think that they were conscious of it because everyone was trying to figure out how they could help me get there and stuff like that. And I kept having to be like, no, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay to
you,
not be there, I think.
you guys have fun. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun to do this. And now think I'm
And
out
now
of
I'm
it
done. Now I'm
now.
done.
Yeah.
That's also interesting when you've put a lot of energy into something and you do want to see it through, or it hasn't finished how you anticipated it finishing. That makes it harder to sink into your it's a no.
Well, I had paid for it too. I had
Right.
paid for the full thing in advance, which I didn't have to do, but it was like you get a discount. So I had paid for the whole thing. So I like lost money on those. I really do think it's cool. I think that the learnings that we got were very cool. And I do think that they helped me progress in many ways. Um, but then I think just recognizing maybe the container that it was in was not the right container for me at that time or something like that. You know, I don't really even know. I don't know the full reasons for why it was a no. It just was
It just
obviously
became obvious.
a no
Yeah.
that I could not see, even though it was right in front of me.
I had a thing where I worked with a friend one time on an Oracle set, and it was so much fun in the beginning, feeding my soul. And it didn't come to fruition. And I was super bummed about that. But it got to the point at the end when it became a no for me. It was like, I'm not even in this anymore. Like, there is nothing of me left. It's been overrided so much by the vision of this other person that it was like, it's
Mm,
great. It's just not me.
right.
And that doesn't feel great. Like, this was a collaborative deal. And now I'm just following your instructions on what to do, like an unpaid employee. Like, it's now a no.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's lost that initial connection and that feeling of yes, where it's like your soul is now participating. Your soul
Right.
was like, okay, well, now I'm not really doing anything here.
But that was a hard one because there was like almost a year and a half. I don't know. I can't remember how much time, but it was over a year of time invested in creating this. And I just got to a point where it was a clear, like, and I'm done
I think that's
now.
the hardest. Those are the hardest no's when you have invested time or money or something like that into it. And then it really does feel like not only are you losing the experience, you're losing this like investment of time or investment of money. And I think that's when you have to realize that saying giving a no to one thing allows the universe to bring something new into your field.
Right. So, but it's not always easy. I guess that's the point of this conversation is it's not easy. It's easy to say a yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not easy either, but it feels easier to be like, yes, that's a yes. I can move forward with that. The energy's flown in that way. And then it's usually when you're redirecting to follow through with a no, that's an obvious no. It's like, but that's not what I want. I want it to be a yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think also it is harder to see the obviousness of it. I don't know why. Like again, when I like tell the story, I'm like, it does seem pretty obvious. But when you're in it, like when I moved to Pittsburgh, it was like we thought about Pittsburgh and then four people like mentioned Pittsburgh to me in a week. And then I like mentioned it to my husband and he lit up and his energy was positive. And it was like all of these signs that were a yes. And so for me, I was like, look how clear this is. Let's go. And for some reason, the no, the blocking feels maybe because it's just life. Like life blocks you in a lot of ways in general. So you're like, is that just a coincidence that the weekend got moved back to a weekend that I can't do? And I didn't see the email until like 5 days before I needed to have childcare for my kids for the whole weekend. Like, is that just a coincidence? I don't know. It's just so much harder.
Right. Because you want to push through. You're like, I can push through this.
Right.
This is not a challenge.
Yeah.
It's hard. I guess that's it, right? Like it's hard to know, is this a time when I need to push through, or is this a time when I need to let go?
Hmm. Yeah. And that's why I like going to my dream. I was like, can you please help me? Because I can't discern this. Like my head can't discern
Yeah,
this. So now I need to go into the dream state and ask that. And it was so clear. It was so clear. Like, you need to leave. You need to not be here.
to not be here. Are you sure about that? Because my kids aren't behaving that badly. You can meditate through this, push through.
Even when I look at that dream, I'm like, I the other piece of that dream that it points out to me was like we were in the dream. I was in this house. We were trying to meditate, but I couldn't because I was completely distracted by my children. And had I gone to that weekend and my husband was not home, so my kids would have either been like navigating stuff on their own or I would have been trying to like figure out what to do with them. I would have not been present in the weekend either because everything wasn't settled with my kids.
Totally.
Now your turn.
I had a class also that I was really looking forward to going to. And I also needed childcare and only in order to get there. And it was also an expensive class. And I kept pushing through. So I had to have my husband wasn't available. I had to have my sister watch my then baby, who was like a year and a half maybe. And she had just given birth. So it felt like a big ask.
Yeah, such a big ass.
He might have been a little bit older, actually. Maybe he was 3. Anyways, but she had just given birth for sure that. And I'm driving there in a snowstorm to drop my kid off to her. I get there. She looks wrecked. Like she should not be adding another child to her repertoire of children that day. And I'm like, I'm sorry and thank you. And I'm sorry. Hey, this doesn't feel right. I'm gonna still go, but something's wrong here with this picture. I'm gonna go back into the snowstorm. So I'm driving down the hill to from her house, and the first stoplight I hit, I'm like, what am I doing? No one else is even on the roads. There's 6 inches of snow on the ground that hasn't been plowed. I'm at a stoplight. I remember thinking, stop, like turn back, don't go.
And it's probably not even you thinking. It's like the universe being like, stop.
Yeah. And then it said stop with I probably went through 10 more stoplights. I hit every single one, which made me walk into the class very close to being late. I might have been late, 5 minutes late. And I'm like, it was snowstorm, 10 minutes late. I don't remember. I was late. Anyway, I get there. I'm excited because I did make it. I was like, it does feel good to be here. Okay, great. And she starts the class, and I think, we must be doing review. This is a review of our last class. And then an hour into it, I was like, I think I've heard this before. And she was like, no, yeah, but you're hearing it differently this time.
You're like,
So we're in class one still that I've already taken?
it actually sounds exactly the same to me. In fact,
Yeah, you're in class one. Oh, not for $500. I'm taking class one again. Thank you very much. I guess that's not that it's a normal price for a class, but still, I don't need to retake it for $500.
no, no.
And just the fact that I was irritated because the teacher didn't remember that I'd already taken the class. It was not like I honestly believe she just forgot that I had not taken the first class, but she kept reaching out to me. That was the other thing. Are you sure you don't want to sign up for this class? It's not a good time. I really think this class would be good for you. Okay, she really wants me to be a part of class number two. But no, it was class number one, and she had forgotten that I'd taken the class. Anyway, the amount of like irritation that I had put everybody and myself through to get there, I was like flaming inside. I was red with rage. Rage. Because I'd put so many people out in order to be at this class that I'd already taken.
Yeah.
And I did not care that I was hearing it differently. In the end, because she is a magic person, um, she was like, we're gonna take a little break because I need to deal with
Because
Kyla.
Kyla's losing her mind in class and it's affecting everyone else's
Because we
frequency.
cannot go forward with this rage inside of her.
Well, and that it honestly, like that is probably what the universe was trying to prevent you from having that negative emotion, that rage, because that's a frequency killer.
Seriously, that was the end of that. Like I never went back again.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was her fault. She's older. I just think she had a human moment and she's not keeping track. But the amount of times that she reached out to be like, are you sure you don't want to take this class? Like because each of these classes were only offered once a year, I think. And so if I missed out on class number two, I couldn't take it until the following year
Right.
to catch up.
Yep.
But it wasn't class number two. It was class number one. And there was no way I was going back to class number two after what happened in class number one the second time.
No. No.
No, it was kind of my message because I was seeking a lot of validation that the things that I feel intuitively are correct. There's a lot more that I knew I could learn. And I think that information at that time was like, this is no longer your teacher.
Right. Yep.
And she's amazing,
Yep.
but she's not yours.
And that's the same, I think, as this class with me. That was like, yeah, this teacher for you, if there's something that's just not the right fit. She's a great teacher. She's very magic. And at this time, that's not your path.
Right. I also wonder if for me, it had a little bit to do with this isn't the right timing in your life. You have tiny children
Yeah.
and you are going to just have to survive for a little while. It's not going to feel very magic. It's not going to feel very much magic. You're going to get angry. That rage lives inside of you, and you will get disrupted by your children while trying to do magic, and it will create rage like that.
Yeah. And so it's like what you need to do is actually trust when you get these no's that it is a reason that it is protecting you.
It's a real no. And I feel like it felt so good to drive back to my sister and be like, just kidding, you don't have to have my kid all day. Like the relief in her face.
She must have been
And I'm so sorry. And now I'm going to do your laundry for you. What else can I help with around the house? We're going to hang out today. You're not going to have to parent alone.
a lot of energy inside of me that needs to move around, and I am going to use it to clean your house.
Oh my gosh, it was so interesting. So that was a big one. And then just recently, a whole girls' trip happened that I was a no right away. And it was to beautiful hot springs, and I love going there.
And you were really debating it. Like, should I go? Here are the reasons why I should go.
Yeah, yeah, but there were just no, like the no's definitely outweighed the pros, which is not typical for a girls' situation, girls' weekend situation. And then the gal friend that I would have likely been riding with on the way home got into an accident. She's fine. No, it wasn't anything major, but I probably would have been in the back seat, which is what got nailed. So, you know, I was like, oh, it was a no. And then my husband was like, I knew. I had a weird feeling about car stuff. Although we did talk about this, and it's kind of like every time we go away, there's a weird feeling like every time. I'm always like, careful on the road. Everybody be conscious and in your best form, please.
Well, that makes me think of one more that I have too, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
we were before we moved, when we were still in Colorado, we were planning why the whole reason we bought that pop-up camper that we bought, but then we had to like work our butts off to sell before we moved, um, was because we were going to go up to Yosemite for like a few weeks in the summer. We were like really excited to have this family trip. And as we started to plan it, I just kept being like, this feels like a no, 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 no. I don't know why, but let's not do this. And that was the year that Yosemite had all those gigantic floods.
And you would have been there.
Yeah, we would have been there right at that time. That was like when we were going to be there
Oh,
with
yeah.
this
You
like stupid pop up that our car probably didn't have enough strength to pull. And it would have just been,
gnarly.
yeah, like just an unnecessary hassle and worry. And yeah, just this like thing that you think is going to be a good experience. But then when you're like, it's a no, and then you're like, oh, that's why. Because it actually would have been probably pretty awful and unpleasant. And we didn't, and expensive. It would have been really expensive. I think that that's the moral. The universe is giving you the yeses and the nos all the time. I just need personally to get better at really trusting the nos in the way that I trust the yeses.
Same.
Same. Okay. Well, that's it. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say on that?
Hit your wagon to a rainbow. Get through this week. You can do it.
Is there any magic that you want to acknowledge before we sign off?
Oh, why is it such a reach today?
It feels really hard to
It's
say.
a reach. It's a reach.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, it's lots. There is a lot. Okay, there's a lot of gratitude I could have about like got some friend time in. So that was magic. It was nice to connect with another magical human being.
That is good.
Yeah.
I think what was most magic for me this week was that, or this weekend really, was that some stuff went down. And normally my emotions would have been really in high drive, but I actually stayed really calm and had a pretty clear head about everything. And it was like my peace, my like mental peace, it was a little affected, obviously, but it wasn't like I was so thrown off that now I'm in like an emotional hangover. It was like, okay, I'm going to see this with clarity and I'm going to react and I'm going to say what's true to me and what's honest to me and not feel like I'm on a roller coaster of emotions. So that's pretty good.
That's really good.
It's
Also,
magical.
we need a nap.
I know.
I like already want a nap, but it's only 9:03 a.m. my time.
I think you deserve a nap at this point. All right. Well, that's all we got for you today.
Lower your expectation and raise your vibration.
Seriously, lower it. Sorry, there's a bug here. Lower it. Okay. Hitch your wagon to a rainbow. Have a good
And
week.
get busy with it. There's a
Yep.
lot of taglines going on. Like so many.
When did we ever say get busy with it?
We did it. But even having two taglines. It's confusing. We need to like start with one and end with another.
Yeah, exactly. We can begin with lower your expectations, raise your vibration,
Yeah. Yeah,
and then
okay.
end
Hit
with
your
hit your wagon, and then just throw get busy with it in the middle somewhere. Oh, are we done? We're done. Okay,
We're
bye.
done.